Grubauer, what?
And it is the Grubauer Hour.
Yay!
Welcome, welcome. We are the Puck Buddy Podcast.
And this is our Puckcast.
And we are here to tell you as much as we know as...
We love Grubauer.
Grubauer Hour?
Yep. Okay,
Grubauer
podcast
Hour.
over.
But yeah, we are your Puck Buddy Podcast. We are here with our host, Cameron Che, Eddie Murad, and Bo Hendrickson. And you know, we are your fantasy experts for the most part. We give you as much of our fantasy knowledge as we have, and you know, we hope that you can apply this in your fantasy hockey league and you know, bring home a championship.
Fantasy hockey, Final Fantasy, whatever you want to do.
All your fantasies, we'll be there.
Except for that one, Craig.
Craig.
But yeah, so we are gonna, you know, kind of introduce a new little segment we got here. We're all kind of pretty excited about. This is kind of...
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
So jacked up, and I'm pretty jacked up on this new segment that is called Who the Puck Am I? So what this segment is, I'm going to be, you know, giving a couple of descriptive, you know, stats, little intriguing facts about a couple of, you know, performing fantasy hockey players. And Eddie and Cam over here are going to try to guess the player from the information I provide them. So it'll be interesting. They've never seen these players before. We'll see if they really know their stuff now.
Don't expect
And
much.
whoever wins most guesses first gets to get the Grubauer tattoo on their face. So
Yes.
I'm going to try and win the best I can.
I already have one on my butt, so...
Just one?
Well, yeah, this is where the second one's going to go, so...
Hey, you can never have enough of the Grubauer.
All right. Watches like that, like... Sell a brand of watch that just has Grubauer's face.
The Grubauer?
The Grubauer hour.
Every hour.
Is that a Rolex?
hour.
Whoa, is that a Rolex? Nah, man, it's a Grubauer. All right.
So let's get right to it. So, player number one.
Grubauer.
Oh, how did you just know? Okay, well, I guess we're on. He was actually player number 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
This is the best segment ever.
So yeah, player number one. I am a forward. I specifically played the center position.
I probably won't know him then.
And
He's not a dual way forward.
Yeah, it's not a dual
no,
player.
not dual, just only the center.
Cam's out.
And we've actually mentioned him in this week and last week's waiver column. And I guess to put it here, he is tied for third place in scoring with 10 points.
Marshall has 11.
Ah, that's right.
So yeah, he is tied with 10 points. And he has a point in every single game this season.
Oh, we just talked about it.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Do you know who it is?
I think I know who it is.
Say it.
Victor Rask?
It is Victor Rask.
Ah!
Victor Rask with the point in every game this season. This was the main thing I wanted to get across.
That's what got me.
It's not... No one else has done this, so that's, you know, pretty impressive that he's the only name that we can, you know, refer to the point streak man. So that's number one. 1 point to Eddie.
Woo.
So let's go player number two. He is also a forward, and he plays center and left wing.
Okay.
Now recently,
Cam's got this.
recently just got the left wing tag. He actually was center for the beginning of the year, but they made an adjustment in Yahoo. He is tied for first in goals with 6 goals.
I think I know.
Tied for second in scoring with 11 points.
Marsh?
It is Marchessault. Sorry, I just had to get it back out there.
I knew it was 11.
Yeah. There's also a lot of other players with 11 points, but Jonathan Marchessault. Other facts I wanted to, you know, let you know. He's a 6th ranked fantasy hockey player right now, 3rd star of the month, and you know he was pretty unknown going into the season. So I just want to get his name out there as much as I can because pretty impressive for this guy.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's move on to a couple of defensemen now. So this one, he is a defenseman. He has the highest plus-minus in the NHL at plus 12.
Oh gosh.
He is the 3rd highest hitting NHL defenseman right now. He's actually ranked number 1 in fantasy hockey defenseman, and also number fantasy 1 in fantasy hockey rankings.
Number fantasy 1 in fantasy hockey rankings.
He's so good that he's just a number 1 in everything. But yes, he's the number 1 fantasy hockey player right now in all hockey rankings.
Really? A defenseman?
He's a defenseman. So I'm going to give you another hint. He was number 11 in fantasy defenseman last year. So he kind of made a little bit of a jump, but he broke the top 10.
Wow.
So
I'm lost.
I'll give you 2 more, and I'm pretty sure these ones will give it away.
All right.
His team is number 1 in the Atlantic Division.
Oh.
And if you want to make a guess now, or I can give it completely away right now. Give me some names.
In the Atlantic?
In the Atlantic.
Yeah. I would want to say Weber, but I don't think
Ding, ding, ding,
Oh.
Shea Weber!
An analyst who's not really an analyst. With dumb luck on his side. Did you know that?
Did you know that? Shea Weber.
I was just
number
kidding.
1
Well,
fantasy defenseman.
The reason I didn't speak is you said in the Atlantic, and I thought, oh, sweet, PK Subban's on the Canadians. And then right before I spoke, I was like, wait, no, he ain't.
No, he ain't.
No, he ain't.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that high plus minus of plus 12, the highest in the league.
So he's highest in the league among all players.
Of all players.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I thought he was just among defensemen.
He's pretty high up there. I'm pretty sure he has 10 points. Plus 12
He's
will get
4
you,
goals, 6 assists.
Yeah, plus 12 will get you that. He's one of, like I said, third highest in defenseman hits. He's pretty up there in shots as well. So, Shea Weber, right now he's doing it all for not only the Montreal Canadiens, but your fantasy team.
Not mine.
Yeah, not mine either.
I wish.
Okay, let's move on to player number 4. He is another defenseman. And he is currently the number 4 fantasy hockey defenseman in all fantasy formats. So, with this guy, it's pretty impressive. He is currently tied for second in assists with 7 assists for, I'm pretty sure, all fantasy defensemen. But you would think that someone who gets a lot of assists would have a good, plus minus, but he's a -2. So he's a player that, on a team that is probably not performing as well, you would think. You got any couple of guesses now, or you want me to keep on rolling?
I have a shot in the dark, but
You can take any shot you want.
Dowdy.
It is not Dowdy. Good guess, though.
No,
So I'll keep on going. He's
I was gonna say PK, but I know he hasn't got that many points. No.
So he is actually number 1 in power play points for defensemen. He has the most power play points.
For Philly.
Not for Philly. This
Really?
is close.
For Tampa?
It's not for Tampa. His team is actually second in the Atlantic Division.
Or for the Caps?
Or second, no, sorry. I pronounced this wrong. Second to last in the Atlantic Division. Because as I said before, he has a -2, so his team is not a good team. So there's a couple teams at the bottom. Usually the ones that are always there in the East.
Is he on Buffalo? I know who it is.
Who?
Risto Leinen!
Yeah, Mr. Risto. Yeah, it's pretty surprising. Number 4 fantasy defenseman.
He's doing very well.
The crazy thing is he doesn't even have a goal yet. He's just riding 7 assists.
Hey, that'll
but
get
he's
you.
killing it on most of
that'll
them
get
are
it
on the
done,
power play, so that's where he's getting some extra looks there.
Well, you know who else has a goal that hasn't shot at the goal yet? Joe Thornton.
Joe Thornton. He might
Who
have
hasn't
passed
shot at the goal yet?
He
Yes.
probably passed out the goal, but he didn't shoot there.
He did not shoot. Well, the puck
They
didn't even go in
tripped
the net.
him, and then they gave it to him. They're like, we feel bad.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Old man.
Okay, so that's gonna wrap up our forwards and our defensemen for who the puck am I?
What the puck, Bo?
I'm pucking up over here. But let's get right into some goalies over here. So who the puck am I? I am a goalie. I currently have 5 wins in 7 games. And this is actually my third tenure on this team. So I've been here for this is his 3rd season, not his 3rd year, I guess I would say. Right now he has the 3rd best goals against average, the 4th best save percentage. And if you want to know a little information about him right now, he's actually the number 1 fantasy hockey goalie.
I mean, I would say Price, but I mean, I know he's been on the Canadiens more than 3 years, so.
So this will make you change your mind about Price. His team is currently number 1 in the Central Division.
The Central.
So he's on the West Coast.
I think I know.
Do you know who it is? this last one I will completely give it away.
Okay.
I have 3 shutouts on the season to lead the NHL.
Yep.
It's the doobie doobie doo.
The Dubes.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, who would have thought Devin Dubnyk, #1 fantasy goalie right now.
man.
That is strange.
So what happens when you get 3 shutouts in a row?
It's a strange world, this fantasy hockey place thing that we do.
It's not, yeah. So this last goalie I'm going to give you guys, this is one kind of really surprised me actually. But yes, who the puck am I? I am a goalie.
Mm-hmm.
I have started every single game for my team this year.
Oh my gosh! Wait.
You want to give it?
I literally just read that this morning. I don't remember who it was.
I just
started
I'll
every
keep
game.
on going.
You might get it after
So far I have 2 shutouts this season
Mm-hmm.
for my team, which is possible when you play every single game. But I'm currently, not currently, but I have the longest win streak right now this season for a goalie, and that's 5 games in a row.
Is it Bob?
Bobrovsky? It is not.
Not going anything.
So right now I am the.
I don't think so. I think Bob had every start, doesn't he?
I don't know. I thought he had 1 start, but whatever. Anyway, continue.
I am the #1 fantasy goalie right now. Or
I know it.
Not #1.
It's Grubauer.
Yes! He actually is the #0 because I said Dubnyk was #1, but the Grubauer hour. No, actually.
All right, sorry. Continue.
Even as great as it would have been to have him here.
That would have been great.
But here, I'm going to go through it one more time.
Okay.
I have started every game this season for my team. I have 2 shutouts. I have a 5-game win streak this season. I'm the #5 fantasy goalie in fantasy hockey. I have the most wins in the NHL this season with 7 wins.
Price.
Oh, I know it.
It is not Price.
I think I know it.
Do you want me to give the last 2 hints?
Give the last 2, and then I'll say what I think it is.
I was one of the worst goalies last year.
Mm-hmm.
And my team is currently #1 in the Pacific.
Talbot.
Oh,
yep.
yeah.
Talbot.
I knew it.
Yep, there it is. That's who the puck am I, Cam Talbot. You would have thought every single game so far he started. I guess if the Oilers want to keep on riding him and he's winning, then that's good for him. So surprisingly, he wasn't a big name last year. This year he's looking like it. So Cam Talbot.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't he have a connection with the Sharks? Was that Talbot that was with the Sharks for a little bit, or was that
we wanted him?
Scrivens that was
Scrivens had
for like a couple days.
I think Scrivens.
One of those 2. Scrivens sucks. That's fine.
Yeah. Except he's good against the Sharks, of course.
Yeah, well, everyone is.
Yes, especially if they're a backup.
So yeah, that wraps up the Who the Puck Am I segment. I hope you guys like it. It was pretty enjoyable, kind of giving out the hints and watching you guys kind of fumble.
Those were good
around
ones because we definitely had to fumble for those.
But yeah, it was just the main part of this segment is to pretty much put some names out there that you wouldn't expect to be where they're at right now.
Test your own fantasy knowledge too. See if you can come up with the answers.
Exactly, it really put our analyst's name at tested. It shows our credibility if we have
or lack thereof.
Yeah, but you guys got most of them, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that'll wrap up that segment of the podcast.
Nice.
Let's move into one of our regular topics that we go through, and that's our starts and sits.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So as usual, we're going to go through a couple of Thursday and Saturday matchups for this week 3 of fantasy hockey. Give you a couple of names at the same position that you would consider whether you would start them or sit them. So I think right away we should just hop right into a couple of centers. So I believe these are playing the Thursday matchup.
Mm-hmm.
These centers are Tyler Seguin at home versus St. Louis, Mark Scheifele in Washington against the Capitals, Alexander Barkov at home versus New Jersey. Out of those 3, give me 2 names you feel comfortable starting on Thursday.
Well, for me, Tyler Seguin is a no-brainer. I'm always going to play Seguin.
Mm-hmm.
Scheifele versus Barkov is a little more difficult for me. Barkov is really underperforming recently, and Scheifele usually finds a way to get some points on the board. But I'm going to actually choose Barkov over Scheifele for matchup reasons as well as home versus away.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Looking on paper, I would say Barkov has the better team and the better matchups, like you were saying. Unfortunately, he's been on a fat cold streak, 4 games, and we mentioned him earlier in our bender list, so I'm going to have to sit him this week until he gets hot. And I'm going to play Scheifele and Sagan confidently in their matchups.
I'm just going to hope Barkov has a turnaround against New Jersey.
Yeah.
He needs something because Marchessault can't
that's
do
a
all.
great matchup for him to get on the right track. So,
we'll see.
We'll see, yeah.
We'll see. So let's move on to a couple more centers, but you guys are going to have to make the decision on both Thursday and Saturday.
Okay.
So first off, we're going to look at the Thursday matchup. We got Anze Kopitar at home versus the Penguins. Jonathan Teos at home versus Colorado. Mr. Jason Spezza will be playing at home versus St. Louis. And our number 1 fantasy player of Week 3, Braden Shen, will be playing on the road versus the New York Islanders. So this is your Thursday matchups. Give me 2 names out of those 4 you would look at.
Well, I don't know about you, Cam, but I would right off the bat play Braden Shen. That's my automatic start because he's just so hot right now. That line is ridiculous.
Shen is so hot right now.
He's so hot right now. So just play Shen. Don't worry about him. Going to these other names, Kopitar has been on a 3-game cold streak. He only has 4 shots and 2 hits in that span. And so it's been kind of rough for LA all around, as we know. Pittsburgh is a very tough matchup, so I am not sure if I would start him, really. He's a stud. He's a star. He's a stud. It's hard to sit him, but considering his track record and how LA's in kind of a hole right now, I would maybe be tentative about that. Jonathan Toews has started slow, but he's coming to a 2-game point streak. He has 3 points in 2 games. But you can be sure he'll get the shot. So that's one thing you can always count on. Whereas Kopitar, he hasn't been taking as many shots. He's more of a passer, But Toes will get you will get 9 shots in 3 games. So I would be cool with him or starting him. He has Colorado, which has allowed 3 or more goals in the past 3 games, and Dallas, which has allowed 3 or more goals in the past 4 games, or 3 of the last 4 games. So he's a hot pick for me. Spezza would be my other maybe start. But he has been switched from center to right wing, and he is coming back from a lower body injury. So it's tough to pick him. He's been struggling, and he's been he's been struggling, and they've put him on the second line and the second power play unit. But he's such a good, skilled player that it's hard not to sit him too. So St. Louis is his Thursday matchup, and St. Louis has just been struggling too. They can't score. They've been letting in 3 goals in 4 of their last 5 games, so that might be a good matchup for him too. At this point, I would say start Braden Shen and Jonathan Toews, personally.
I literally have to say nothing. I agree with that.
There you go.
There you go.
That's the Thursday matchup. So there we have it. We have Mr. Shen and the Toes.
Yeah.
But let's look at this again for Saturday. So we're going to go through the same names here. We got Anze the Kopitar at home versus Calgary, so he's got back-to-back home games. Jonathan Toews playing in Dallas, so he's traveling over those couple of days. And then Jason Spezza will be also playing at home again versus Chicago, so Toews and Spezza will be battling out. And Braden Shen will be playing at Montreal against Carey Price. So does this still make him your number 1?
Ugh.
I gotta be honest. I would take Taves and Spezza in this matchup.
You think it's going to be a high-scoring affair?
I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair between the 2 teams, and I think that both of them will knock at least 1 point each. I foresee Taves scoring. Hopefully Spezza does too, but at least on the second power play unit, there's a chance he'll get some power play points for you. But both teams, Dallas and Chicago, have been letting in at least 3 goals in 3 out of their last 4 games. So, I
totally agree. Those are the best matchups. You don't want to play anyone against Montreal at this point. They've just been killing it. They haven't even lost a game in regulation, have they? 8-0-1.
7-0-1.
7-0-1 or 8-0-1? Yeah, something crazy. It's so tough to sit Braden Shen, but
For this one situation, I think...
Yeah, for this one situation, I think you gotta... Kopitar has a great matchup at home versus Calgary, and LA's been better at home, but of course, you can't really trust that So yeah, I think I'll have to agree with you with Taves and Spezza playing each other. Hopefully they just rack up some points.
Well, with Niemi and net, anything is possible.
Yeah, so for sure play
Except
Taves.
for winning.
Sad Sharks fans.
Okay.
But yeah, play Taves for sure. Spezza, Shen, Kopitar. Others, other picks. But anyway, moving on.
Okay. So I think we've gone through a decent amount of centers. I'm going to hop us to a couple of wingers right here.
Cool.
So let's look at a Thursday matchup here. We have a couple of I believe are they right and left wingers, or are they just right wingers?
They're just wingers.
So I guess just wingers in general. Actually, I'm just going to stick with the right wingers for this one.
Okay.
So we have Matt Zuccarello at home versus Edmonton. Once juicy matchup, no longer juicy. Nikolai Ayers playing in Washington against the Capitals.
Ehlers.
And Blake Wheeler
Wheeler.
taking his wheels to Washington as well to play the Capitals. So between those three guys, what right wingers are you comfortable starting?
None of them? I mean, you look at the matchups they have, and that's awful. Zooks against Talbot, who we just talked about, and then Ehlers and Wheeler against Washington, that are a much better team. I think... here's my question. I should know this, but I don't. Ehlers and Wheeler...
Both on the top line.
Power play unit?
Blake Wheeler's on the top
Blake
power
Wheeler's
play
on the-
unit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would do... tentatively Wheeler and Zuccarello.
I agree with you. Zuccarello is on the second line with Kreider and Zibanejad, and that line has been producing the most points for that team. They've been killing it. They have that line, or him on his own, he's had 3 goals, 2 power play points, 12 shots on goal in the past 3 games. They've just been getting a lot of chances, so definitely play Zuccarello. Ehlers and Wheeler are on the same team. They're on the same line. Way more upside with Blake Wheeler playing on the top power play unit, and he has more points than Ehlers. Both have been playing very hot, so it's, sometimes you might want to play both players, but in this matchup against the Capitals, it's a tough one. So I would play Wheeler and Zuccarello, like you said, for sure.
Yeah, my risk, sometimes I'll play 2 players of the same team, but I don't want to risk the hot goalie shutting both of them down in the same game.
I mean, Grubauer, man. You can't play anybody against Grubauer.
No.
You're down to get...
Not that he'll
bound to
probably
get
play. He'll probably be healthy.
If they know it's best for them.
Yeah. They just want to give the other team a chance. You can't just be playing Grubauer.
It's gotta be fair.
Yeah, cool, totally.
Okay, so you guys are agreeing on Zuccarello and Wheeler for this matchup? I think I'm about right with you guys there. So let's look at a couple of other wingers. So these ones we're going to look at some left wingers. These guys are actual dual positions, so if you're lucky, you might be able to, find the right balance in terms of your team. But we're going to give you 3 would-be left wingers over here. We're going to give you first the Thursday matchup, and that is Rick Nash playing at home versus the Edmonton Oilers. Alexander Steen playing in Dallas against the Stars. And Marcus Johansson, who's been playing pretty hot.
He's been very hot.
He's playing at home versus the Winnipeg Jets. So for this Thursday matchup, I need you guys to give me 3 left wingers that you would play between those guys, or 2 of them.
2 of them.
Yeah.
Because I gave you 3.
Yeah.
Play all of them.
Yeah. I think I know mine. I would do... I don't want to influence your decision, but I would do Johansson and Nash.
I agree. Basically, Johansson is on his point streak. You got to play the guys who are hot, and against Winnipeg, so that's bound to be a good game. Hopefully, some high scoring going on there. And Rick Nash playing on the top line versus Edmonton. It's a tough matchup, but I definitely see them doing well. And it's only because Steen and the Blues have been struggling to score goals, and
they're getting scored on.
Yeah, which is even worse. Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
tough time for them. Unfortunately, I totally agree with Johansson and Nash. It's hard to sit Steen, but sit him until they get something going.
But I mean, you would think if you're gonna play either Swiss cheese Niemi or let them in.
You play
your
Steen
chances
no
of
matter
scoring
what,
would be up. But you guys are okay sitting Steen this week.
I'm sitting him for Bro Hansen, so
Bro Hansen.
and Nick Rash. So
Yeah. Don't get the ointment out. Let the rash fester.
let the rash fester and play with your Bro Hansen. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta play with your pros, dude.
All right, so I'm going to ask you guys a very similar question. But instead, since I mentioned these guys are dual position, we're going to look at some right wings instead, and I'm going to throw in another right winger along with those three names, and these are for some Saturday matchups.
Okay.
We have Rick Nash, once again, playing at Boston. Alexander Steen playing at home versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, Cam's Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
Auto start.
The Bro Hansen playing with his bros down in Florida against the Panthers. And finally, this is a new addition. We got Mr. Two First Names, Bobby Ryan, playing at home versus Buffalo Sabres. So
Bobby Ryan, Michael Patrick.
yeah, the man of many first names.
Well,
He should, like, every kid he has, or like generations, they should just add a new first name, right? So in 200 years, they have a kid that has just like 48, first names. Sorry. So
this is how many women or men your mom slept with. Bobby, Steven, Joseph,
Mohammed. It's like 8 Mohammeds.
Jamal.
All right. Sorry. Before we get too racist, let's get back to our wingers. Yeah.
Way too late.
So this is a little bit more difficult.
There's 2 good matchups with Ryan and Steen. Johansson might have.
I'm going to double check that Columbus matchup because Bobrovsky has been playing pretty decently
in the past 3 games. Before he had under a 900 save percentage.
Yeah, but the whole team was playing like crap. So now, if you look at the team, how they're playing,
with less crap.
Yeah, they're playing. Well, they're just playing with like harder crap. Not like a.
Not like soupy.
Yeah, exactly. This should be cut out.
Fiber.
This should be cut out. Let's restart. Okay, so
we're not cutting that out, by the way.
Back to the wingers. I believe for our Saturday matchup. Oh, this is really tough.
This is tough.
Probably Bobby Ryan at home versus Buffalo, and I'm torn between Rick Nash and Alex Steen.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Steen. You either go with your Bobrovsky, or Mr. Tuukka Rask.
That's right.
It's a little tough. I mean
if they don't play Rask, I would play Nash because whenever they don't play Rask, they get scored on 5 times. So,
but whenever they play Rask, they get scored on 5 times too. So, I mean,
10 times.
Yeah,
5 times.
No,
too.
yeah. You know what? I am gonna go Ryan and Nash.
Okay, for mine, my main thing is to see if Johansson does well in the Winnipeg game. If he still continues his point streak, you got to keep riding him to Florida. If he is cold in Winnipeg, sit him against Florida. From there, I would probably play... Oh, man, you're so right. This is a tough one.
I know.
There's a lot of good options at right wing here.
I would play Steen because I think... They are at home. It's a good matchup, and they really need to get going. Otherwise, someone's getting fired. Something's going to happen over there. And then I would play... Oh, man.
Wait, so are you playing Ryan and Steen, or are you just playing Steen
play
so far?
Johansson, make sure he's
hot Johansson if he's still hot.
Right, and then Steen's next, Bobby Ryan. I would sit Nash for some reason. I just don't trust him.
So you're saying Johansson if he's hot and Steen. If he's not, you would go Steen and Ryan.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so in order, Johansson, Steen, Ryan, Nash.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, that was a tough one. But,
oh, man.
Either way, honestly, between these names, you should be pretty comfortable starting most of them.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of making that tough decision...
Ride the Bro Hansen!
Yeah, you gotta ride the Bro Hansen. Until you don't bro no mo.
No mo.
Okay, let's move on to a couple of right wingers over here. We're gonna look at a Saturday matchup for all these right wingers. Some of these, I feel like it's going to be a little tough because there's some bigger names, but there's some studs here that you got to auto start. And that would be, Vladimir Tarasenko playing, I believe, at home versus Columbus.
Yeah, this is a Saturday matchup.
So it's a Saturday matchup. And we also have Jordan Eberle playing in New York against the Islanders. Patrick Hornquist, who I don't know if you guys know, is surprisingly the number 5 fantasy hockey player out of all the rankings.
Sit him.
And he's playing the San Jose Sharks, which was why you might sit him.
Yep.
But yeah, he's playing San Jose in San Jose. And we also have Brandon Gallagher playing in Boston against the Bruins. So I gave you 4 right wingers. You have to give me 2.
Oh, man.
This is a tough list.
All of them are away except for Tarasenko, who's been doing the worst out of... Well, actually, he hasn't been doing that bad, but...
He started hot.
But he started hot, and that's why he's been doing well, but recently he's been cold.
I know.
Gallagher's been surprisingly doing very well. I don't think you can sit Eberle because he's on a line with Connor McDavid, and the Islanders have been struggling. So I would play Eberle for sure, and I would have to say Hornquist because, I mean, it's harder in San Jose. You know what? Oh, dirty.
So are you not playing your first round pick, Vladimir Tarasenko?
Hell no. Yeah. Okay, yeah. At home versus Columbus, Tarasenko, Eberle. Those are my choices. Hornquist is a quick third. Gallagher you can sit, even though he's been doing really well. So those are my picks.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
Gallagher first, Eberle second for me.
Whoa.
I don't believe Gallagher is a surprise.
Gallagher's been playing so well.
I think he's had that in him. I think he's shown that a couple in spurts throughout the season. So he's not one of those players to be consistent game to game as far as production goes on the level that he is right now. But he does produce in spurts. So I'm going to ride him while he's hot, especially against Boston. Hornquist, you're right. I foresee him.
I just think
because as Sharks fans, we expect the opposition to get a hat trick every game. So it's hard not to foresee a Niemi type performance, but we do have Jones. So
I do think San Jose will win that game in San Jose. At least
I
they
hope so.
better.
I hope so.
They're riding a home win streak right now, so.
But I think Gallagher, and then I think you're right, Eberle. You cannot sit Eberle with McDavid. But you're right, Tarasenko's been cold, and I do think Bobrovsky has been turning up the heat. So Gallagher and Eberle.
So this is actually pretty interesting. I want to kind of throw my 2 cents in.
Yeah, what would you say?
I think we all have different opinions here. For me, I think Tarasenko is always an auto start, no matter who else you have. You wasted your first round pick on him, and there's a reason why, and that's because he's a stud. Yeah, it's a waste if you didn't get McDavid. So
yeah,
but as much as you can McDavid, talk him up all you want. Eberle is not McDavid. He will benefit from McDavid, but he's not McDavid. Mm-hmm. And I guess I could say the same thing about Hornquist and Crosby, but Hornquist has been producing as the number 5 fantasy player, and now he's with Sidney Crosby. So I find it tough to sit him, even if it is against the Sharks. But he's going to be right there in front of the net, bothering Jones the whole time, and. Jones he doesn't really like it when there's someone, in his grill the whole time.
Right.
He's not as, as aggressive to, push him out of the way as like someone like Quick or someone would do in front of the net. So I think Patrick Hornquist kind of gets in his head a little bit, and you can't turn down Sidney Crosby. So Hornquist and Eberle are definitely tough ones for me, but I got to do Tarasenko and Hornquist.
All right, Tarasenko, Hornquist.
So yeah, you got different opinions from all of us. You can kind of take it as you will, whoever you trust more. We won't take it any offense, but if you don't start who we're saying, then we'll be pretty upset. But yeah, so those are some right wingers. Let's do a couple defensemen since we've mainly done some forwards for you guys. Mm-hmm. So with this matchup, it's both Thursday and Saturday. So we have 5 defensemen here. You have to give me 4 names that you like. Let's try to go through these real quick. So Thursday we have Keith Yandel at home versus
just do 3 names.
You want to just do 3 names?
Just do 3 names.
Okay, let's do 3 names. Keith Yandel at home versus New Jersey. John Klingberg, who's starting a little slow, at home versus St. Louis. Pickles, Mark-Edward Vlasic playing at home versus Calgary. Matthias Ekholm playing on the road versus Arizona Coyotes. And Anton Strawman playing at home versus the Boston Bruins. Give me 3 names.
All right. Well, I'll make this easy. You're not sitting Keith Yandel. Out of all 5 of these choices, he takes the most shots, and he is in a tough matchup, but being on the top power play unit and taking all the shots, he has all the upside. So play Yandel for sure, especially against New Jersey. That's a good matchup at home. From these other ones, it's a little tougher. Klingberg seems like it's the obvious choice, but he has less shots than Vlasic on the season, which is very surprising. He has 2 assists in 3 games, and his shot total has been ramping up the past 4 games. He's been trying to get more involved offensively. Vlasic takes very few shots, but still has more than Klingberg, and he doesn't take very many hits. But the best thing about Vlasic is he always has a good plus-minus, but unfortunately he has a -1 on the season right now. I expect that to go up for sure. He's always a strong defenseman, and he's on a strong second power play unit, and we've been talking up the power play unit for the Sharks and how good it's been, almost equal to the top unit. So that is a tough one. Matthias Ekholm usually takes more shots, and he's been taking more in the past 2 games. He has no points in his past 7, so I feel like that might be a safe sit. And then Strawman is the other one. He doesn't get penalty minutes. He barely gets shots. He doesn't get hits. He's a tough play every week, but he's on a very potent Tampa Bay team who's scoring a lot, and he's on their top power play unit with all the great names like Stamkos, Kucherov, Hedman. So it's tough to sit him too with just his upside as well.
Just give me 3 names out of those 5.
I already have mine. So for me, I don't think it's a huge decision on these defensemen, actually. Just looking at their matchups and their potential to put up points, I would pick Keith Yandel and John Klingberg without question. I think their matchups are decent. Keith Yandel, I think, has the toughest out of the 2, but he's been taking... Yeah, against Schneider. Oh, yeah. But he's been taking a lot of shots, so I think that matchup is going to be pretty good. I would sit Vlasic, and I would sit Strawman. So my players would be Yandel, Klingberg, and then my far third would be Ekholm. Reason being is Smith is still out, playing against Arizona, who's one of the worst teams in the league right now, and Ekholm, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
So
he takes a lot of shots, so that's always good too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what you want to look for, someone who's getting the opportunities. For me, I completely agree. Keith Yandel, Klingberg.
You can't sit them.
Klingberg has been disappointing, but talking to the coach, they've been trying to get him more involved, and you just got to play him.
They told him to. What was that quote? Just relax and play.
Something like that.
They were like, just get up in the play, just go. So
bring your recliner to the game.
Yeah,
just relax.
Lazy boy. Yeah, I think Klingberg definitely has the green light to jump in the play more. So he's going to be getting some points.
Agreed. The third is a tough one, but I would actually play Vlasic. I think Calgary is a good matchup for him.
Even though Mike Smith's out?
Yeah, I don't know. The Predators have been struggling regardless. They're just not doing that well anyway. Both of those teams have been struggling. That might be a high-scoring game, honestly, but I trust Vlasic more. I think he'll get you more. If you play Yandel and Klingberg, you're going to be getting shots, and you're going to be getting some power play time. Vlasic will get you a bunch of those, plus he'll get you the plus-minus, and he'll give you a couple hits here and there. So.
And I guess, like I was talking about, I think in our very first podcast, that Vlasic would be a good shutdown defenseman if you're playing against someone who has either Monahan or Gaudreau. It may be a good decision to play him that day to see if he could get some plus-minus and shut down their best forward. So
agreed.
But I disagree with you, though, Echo.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do the exact same players with a different Saturday matchup, but I just want you to give me your top 3. Don't really have to give an explanation because you guys kind of already went through it.
Easy.
Yeah.
So Keith Yandel is playing in Washington against the Capitals. John Klingberg is playing at home versus the Chicago Blackhawks. Mark-Edouard Vlasic is playing at home versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Matthias Ekholm is playing at home versus the Carolina Hurricanes. And Anton Strawman is playing at home versus the New Jersey Devils. So we got 4 teams at home and one away. So between those 5 names, I need 3 right now.
Well, this is a little bit more difficult because you have Yandel at Washington. Did you have a... You have 3 right away?
I would play Yandel no matter what. He has the most upside out of all of them. Mm-hmm. He gets the most shots.
If you don't mind my 2 cents, I feel like Yandel and Klingberg
are
automatic starts.
It's finding the third one.
Defensemen.
Okay, so between Vlasic, Ekholm, and Strawman, who would we play as our third pick?
I think Vlasic will spend too much time trying to shut down Sidney Crosby.
I wouldn't play Vlasic.
playing an offensive role, so I'd be fine sitting him. Now it just comes down to the matchups of either.
I would sit Ekholm in this game. I think with Carolina, with like the Jeff Skinner line being as good as they are right now, I don't see Ekholm being anything more than a flat 0. He will probably be B- in the plus minus.
Yeah, Carolina's been playing hot.
And Strawman against New Jersey has a much better matchup, especially on the top power play unit.
Even against Schneider?
On the top power play unit, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. Yandel and Klingberg and the Strawman. So let's wrap up this podcast with a couple of goalies that are playing Saturday. So we have Henrik Lundqvist playing in Boston against the Boston Bruins. Mr. Frederick Anderson,
Mr. Anderson.
Not Craig Anderson, but Frederick Anderson, will be playing at home versus Vancouver. And Sergei Brovsky, I believe his house is, Sir Bro, is playing in St. Louis against the Blues. So give me 2 goalies that you
Great fantasy name.
are found.
Bob Brovsky's Burgers.
Oh.
Score!
Or was that the inspiration for the TV show Bob's Burgers? Mind blown. Anyway, my goalies. I'm taking a risk on this one. I'm actually going to say Bobrovsky 1, Anderson 2.
What?
I know, but bear with me. The past couple games, Anderson has been improving, vastly improving, and he's against Vancouver. Bobrovsky's versus St. Louis. We've talked about their scoring struggles, and Bobrovsky's increasingly on fire play of late. So that's a no-brainer for me. But Anderson over Lundqvist, I just like the matchup of at home versus Vancouver better than Lundqvist in Boston.
Yeah, honestly, Anderson to me is the worst goalie out of these 3.
I do not disagree.
But I would play him over them because of his matchup. And the Leafs have been playing a lot better around him. I think they have good coaching, around him. So I think he's a good start.
I mean, and William Nylander. I mean, come on.
He's the coach, right?
Coach Babcock. Yeah, they should put him on the ice. It's so tough to trust Bob. I mean, I know he's been playing really well in St. Louis. I know St. Louis has been playing bad. It's tough for me to start him, and I feel like you just got to play the king sometimes. He's been playing very well this season. A few here and there where he's been bad. I mean, not as kingly, maybe a Duke. But the New York Rangers have just been outscoring their opponents so much that I feel like you'll probably guarantee a win. And he's Heinrich Lundqvist. I think he'll be fine. So I would start Anderson and Lundqvist in that one.
I think my issue is that both the Rangers and the Bruins, they don't have a very solidified season average for goals scored per 60 minutes because it's either 5 to 10 or 0.
Yeah.
So
it's either tons of
a
goals.
little unpredictable.
So yeah, well, those are mine. What about you, Bo? Do you have a say in this one?
I mean, for me, I have a...
Bo's opinion doesn't matter anyway. Let's move on.
That's very true. Well, that wraps up the Grubauer Hour. We are your fantasy puck buddies at the Puck Buddy Podcast. Here to give you all the latest Grubauer news. And, we gave you as much as we could today. So I hope you enjoyed the podcast. I hope you learned a lot about Mr. Grubauer. And I hope you add him to your fantasy team.
And...
Not before me.
I found out the other day that all women are liars. I was at the park and I went up to this woman and started talking to her and I saw her dog and I said, "Hey, that's a cute dog. Does he bite?" She said, "No." And I said, "Well, how does he eat?" Liar.
Liar.